of Sri Ramakrishna. But since the worldly impressions are all there in the mind, they are pulling the mind in one direction, and Mathur Babu didn't have sufficient willpower to get rid of all these worldly things, and he became terribly frightened. And he's shouting, "Oh Master, what are you doing? What are you doing? Enough of this, enough of this. I don't want this samadhi anymore. Please bring me to the normal consciousness." He's shouting and shouting with same vehemence. As he requested to have samadhi, now he is requesting the Master to bring him down from the samadhi, because he does not know how to come down. So that is the terrible experience. Then Sri Ramakrishna smiled and said, "Did I not tell you? If you are not prepared, you will not be able to contain. So, leave it to God." Sri Ramakrishna says, "Leave it to me. I take care of that." So let us maintain our mental balance under all circumstances and not be shaken. We should not be shaken. Things happen many times which would shake us. We should be more careful on those occasions. If you keep on remembering God every day more intensely, keep on repeating the divine name more vigorously, that will give you strength. You are living for the sake of God. You are not living for the sake of the world. If you think you are living for the sake of the world, you are gone. If you think you are living for God, that means you are blessed. So we should be very careful. Realization and bondage, both are in our hands. The very important role in our life is played by the mind. Don't stuff the mind with all sorts of things. Don't allow the mind to get attached to more than one thing. If the mind becomes diversified, you can never reach the goal. These are all spiritual gems told by Sri Ramakrishna. Fix the mind on the divine form of God. Don't divert the mind here, there, run after. So, then Sri Ramakrishna says, we should learn to see God in everything about us. We should smear God over everything. If we do that, then our mind will think of Him alone. Somehow we must adopt some methods so that mind is always remembering God. Let us do our assignment properly. Whatever we have to do in this world, with the idea that I am doing these things as duty for duty's sake. That's all. I don't want the results thereby. I don't want to profit myself by doing the duty. I do the duty for the love of God. With that attitude, if you do the work, it has got tremendous spiritual value. That is, that will burn all the seeds of karma. Suppose you don't have that attitude and keep on doing the things, arrogating yourself, then you are under the wheel of cause and effect. You are under the rigorous law of karma. As you sow, so you reap. You come under that law. But if the seeds of karma are burnt down, they will not sprout, then you will not be born again, and you won't be miserable at all, because you will be blessed with the holy company, holiest company of God. If you want, you can remain independent, enjoying the beauty of God. Or if you want, you can merge with Him. Whatever way you want, God grants you, and you will be peaceful forever. So Sri Ramakrishna tells how to turn all our activities as some kind of duties only by keeping the mind in God, repeating divine name all the time, mentally, and doing meditation regularly, very important. That means daily. Meditation, japa, chanting of hymns, these things will keep our body, our mind and our speech in pure. That means they have got purifying effect. So when we try to live the life this way, then we attain yoga. So Sri Ramakrishna said, one attains yoga when one completely effaces sensuality and craze for gold. As long as we are pulled down by these two, we are always in bondage. These are the main enemies: sensuality and craze for gold. It drags us down and down and down and down. Very difficult to get out of them. You know it's not good, but you can't avoid it. So, we are driven to that state, we become hopeless and helpless. Then it is too terrible for us, too difficult for us. So let us not allow our mind to go that way. This way I keep on telling, in Sri Ramakrishna you are safe in every respect. Hold on to him, hold on to his instructions, read his gospel every day. That itself is a mantra. Then you will see the beauty of it. As I said, try to attend the services here. It's meritorious. It is purifying to attend the services. Every day evening 6 o'clock there is service. Arati is done to Sri Ramakrishna. The living embodiment. Daily worship is done. He is always bestowing his grace on those who turn to him. So let us make use of that and try to follow his teachings as best as we can of spirituality. The whole universe is taken into Sri Ramakrishna's way. Sri Ramakrishna has come to give an ideal to all the people in the humanity, all the people in the universe. It's a rare opportunity for us to become acquainted with Sri Ramakrishna's life and teachings, which have tremendous spiritual power. By taking refuge in him, taking shelter in him, it would be possible to sail the boat of life easily. Sri Ramakrishna has shown the way how to go about in this world. This world is not separate from God. It is God's own abode. If we have this feeling, then everything becomes easy. The Supreme Divine incarnates himself as man and teaches people the path of devotion. Sri Ramakrishna has said there are many paths. The path of reasoning. But how many people can go in that way? Sri Ramakrishna himself tells that that path of reasoning was really very tough. Brahman alone is real, everything else is a dream. It's not easy to comprehend this idea and dwell upon it constantly. So Sri Ramakrishna urges people to cultivate self-surrender to God. He always tells people to follow the path of devotion. One can realize everything through the grace of the Divine Lord. Both knowledge and supreme wisdom. God loves to give. He loves his devotees more than anything else. Lord Krishna has said specifically in the 12th chapter of the Gita about 32 characteristics of a devotee whom he loves them. So it's very important for us to develop true devotion. We must become devotees, then it becomes easy to have true devotion. Conversely, by performing devotional practices, we can become true devotees. Sri Ramakrishna's life gives us a wonderful model in the path of devotion. Sri Ramakrishna has said many times that God sports in this world. God is under the control of his devotee. Here devotee means a true devotee, having true devotion. Sri Ramakrishna himself is there as the example. The Divine Mother is herself tied by the cord of the love of her devotee. These are the statements of Sri Ramakrishna. Many times we see, we go and adopt children. We bring pets. Why? Because we want to give expression to our love. Something must be brought in and we must express our love. So, that attitude of selfless love is there in every one of us. We should cultivate this properly and become blessed. It's only through devotion, being a true devotee, we can have real happiness. In this world, real happiness is very rare. If you take your life as a whole, from the date of your birth up to this date, suppose you compare yourself, the amount of pain and sorrow you underwent, and the happiness you got. What do you find? There is very little happiness. But those who are devoted to God, they know some peace in this world. Pains may come, sorrows may come, they are not disturbed because they know that everything comes from God. It is the same God who gives us happiness and again trials and difficulties. That's why they bear everything patiently as a blessing from God. If you study the life of Kunti in Mahabharata, throughout her life from the beginning to the end, how much hardships, difficulties she had to undergo. But she suffered everything without getting disturbed. That means her devotion to Lord Krishna was intact. It is that devotion that gave her supreme joy in spite of intense difficulties. So people who are really devotees, who are practicing the path of devotion, they never get elated by so-called happiness in this world. They are not upset by so-called sorrows in this world, because they know whatever the happiness that is got in this world is impermanent and short-lived. So is sorrow. Lord Krishna says in the Gita, Yo na hrishyati, na dveshti, na shochati, na kankshati, shubha shubha parityagi, bhaktiman yasame priya. How beautifully Lord Krishna has extolled the nature of a true devotee who is very dear to him. It is rather difficult for an ordinary person to stand the actions and reactions of this world. Every now and then we will be under some kind of constant pricks. But If we develop faith in God, then we are not overwhelmed by this. So, to become a devotee, one should occupy fully with spiritual efforts. That is, set an ideal before you, hold on to it, hold on to your initiated mantra. Never deviate your mind to any other thing. Pray to Him, worship Him, be with Him during services, concentrate on Him. Make the mind one-pointed. That's the purpose of all these prayers, worship and services. That's the purpose of holding on to one ideal. That's the purpose of not deviating mind to any other thing. That will help to develop our spiritual intensity and love for God. On the other hand, if you run after too many places, it dries up your spiritual intensity. Whatever little spiritual aspirations we have, they all vanish if you keep on running here and there. Stop running. You have taken the ideal. Why do you run after? That only shows you have no trust in your ideal. Be very strict about your own self before imposing strictness on anybody else. It's very important and a very essential step we should take to become a true devotee. Constant remembrance and thinking of God will make Him graciously reveal Himself in the heart of the devotee. He runs after the devotee. He is very eager to give vision to the devotee. What he wants is that we should become true devotees. That's all that is needed. That means we must love God without any hypocrisy. If the devotee fulfills this condition, God favors such devotees. God is not to be satisfied by anything else. It is love and devotion alone that please Him. Love and devotion alone. Hold fast to the Lord at all times and in all circumstances, in happiness and in misery, in disease and in health, in peace and in unrest. Live a pure, selfless life. Desire nothing else but the love of the Lord. I am living for the sake of loving God. That should be our attitude of life. If you live, if you have the attitude of living for the sake of sensual enjoyments, then your life has gone vain. So Sri Ramakrishna tells very clearly, let your deeds speak, not mere words, nor theories. Be practical, be truthful in your doing things, in your actions. That's the meaning of telling, let your deeds speak, not mere words, nor theories. If we love God for what we can get from Him in the world, what does it show? That shows we really love the world, not God. And we can never be true devotees as long as we try to get something some kind of personal benefits, some worldly achievements or whatever it is, whatever you may call. Our love towards world is becoming more than that of God. So the true devotee loves God for the joy of loving Him, because God is the beloved. He has chosen God as his ideal, so his whole mind should be set on it. That means he should empty himself completely. Then he is infilled with God. So, first of all, let us try to attain devotion by various means, then serve God in mankind. Please remember, it is very important to note that work is not the end of life. Selfless work needs to be done. In the whole day of your activity, how much you are selfless, that counts more than how much you have devoted your time in your activities. That help only the individual. So selfless work needs to be done. In 24 hours of the day, suppose you have devoted 5 minutes in selfless work, that counts more than anything else. The rest of the time which you have spent is all waste. Sheer waste. So your true devotion develops only to the extent you do selfless activity more and more, honestly, always thinking, cherishing love of God. Selfless, getting rid of the poison of selfishness, which is ruining us in every respect, which is devouring us, which is overwhelming us. So one gets true devotion only by engaging in selfless activities. If one acquires devotion to God, morality and purity, all those things will follow by themselves without even trying to be moral or pure. They automatically come. You don't have to think about them. Once you come in contact with a spiritual teacher, once you have come to know the path, then learn about the path and walk on the path. You will reach your destination. Then alone will raise faith and devotion. To cherish faith in the divine, to be devoted to Him, to praise His glories. These are the duties in life. Not simply attending to your household activities and getting married and getting this thing, that thing. There are secondary duties. The primary duties is devotion to God. Give prominence to God in your home. Give sufficient portion of your mind to God. Engage in selfless activities more and more. These are the primary duties. If you are engaged in worldly duties, you love the world, no doubt. The world also loves you. It drags you, you will also be dragged by it. Both of you get attracted. The end result is known to everyone. In the same way, if you do spiritual duties, you will love God and God loves you. You will get illumination, life becomes meaningful. Otherwise, life is vain and meaningless. Life is vain and meaningless without attaining devotion to God and spiritual illumination. So if we keep on doing spiritual practices, true devotion, faith and knowledge are the results, are the fruits of long persistence in spiritual practice. Not simply sitting for 5 minutes and jumping and running to places afterwards. So keep your mind pointed towards God, and your boat will sail smoothly. A person who does this never loses his faith and devotion, even if he is thrown into an evil environment. What has happened is, at the present situation, the mind power is so great Our soul power has become terribly weak. We can't exercise any power over the mind. Mind is ours. We'll be always telling my mind, my mind. At the same time, you don't have any kind of control over your mind. What kind of you are telling my mind? What's the use of telling that way? That means you have lost the power of exercising influence over your own mind. So the more you tend towards the worldly things and worldly activities, it becomes more and more worse. So Lord Sri Ramakrishna says, out of his infinite grace, compassion, develop love, develop devotion, follow the path of devotion. Don't discard the world as a dream. World is the abode of God. With that feeling, you can carry on your activities nicely, and your love and devotion also increase. You must intensify your spiritual practices. Life is going on, whether we do it or not. That's all. So, Sri Ramakrishna has come and told us, let us try to follow these teachings to the best of our capacity. Try to come more and more to the temple services and attend with devotion. Do it intentionally. Do it consciously. Not for the sake of favoring somebody else. You are coming here so that to make your life spiritual. You are coming here so that God may show favor to you. Have that feeling. Don't have the feeling that you are coming here for anything else. So, with this attitude, I hope whatever you do will become worship to Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna is very much present here. Very much present here. So I shall conclude my talk. Light of knowledge. He has come out of his infinite love and compassion for the humanity. Incarnations always come with definite mission. That is, to help the people turn to spirituality, to turn them Godward. They show the way how to get free from the sufferings of the world. So, Sri Ramakrishna said that a devotee should worship and serve an incarnation of God. It is easy to approach God through an incarnation. God comes in human form so that people can approach Him easily. And Sri Ramakrishna tells, love the incarnation, then you get everything. Even God realization is possible if you follow the incarnation. God knows that it is very difficult, extremely difficult for the people living in the world to get rid of worldliness. It is almost impossible. They know they are suffering, but they cannot get out of it. Seeing their sufferings, God Himself comes out of His infinite compassion and grace. He incarnates Himself towards Him. He teaches them how to love God. He makes them love God. He gives them the experience of divine ecstasy. Worldly desires and past habits, they are the cause of continuous restlessness. It only shows that we have harbored repeated desires in our births. The more worldly desires we cherish in the mind, the more we become distracted. The more we love the world, worldly things, worldly entanglements, the more we distance ourselves from God. So, the problem is pinpointed. What is that? These distractions must be uprooted. So, how to do that? We must come in contact with men of character, who are living the life of spirituality, who are setting the model, who are showing the practical life of religion. It means that we must decide ourselves to live a life of self-discipline. That's the way to fight distractions. So, we should follow the incarnation to get inspiration. When God incarnates as a person, He does so for no particular race or nation, but for the good of the whole world. That's because of His pure compassion. He is self-sufficient, pure, intelligent and free by nature. He doesn't have any purpose to serve in this world. Being complete in Himself, He has nothing to attain or not to attain. When the world becomes burdened and there is prevalence of irreligion, the all-merciful Divine Lord, by His own free will, incarnates Himself as man to save the fallen and ameliorate the lot of the world. They are ready to help the humanity. Their whole life is meant for that. They come with that definite purpose. When God descends to this world as a man, then flows a current of spirituality. People are blessed by getting the light of knowledge. Many attain liberation too. An incarnation is not born as the result of karma. And how can he have any ignorance? It is the eternal Brahman in his own fullness, the Lord of Maya. He descends with the help of Maya and he returns to his own real state after the need of the age is fulfilled. All the spiritual practices that the incarnation undertakes, all the hard austerities he undergoes, they are just meant to set an example to others, to hold an ideal before the people, to show the people by their own actual way of life. They don't want to simply theorize the ideas. They put the spiritual ideas in practical way. As long as the incarnations remain in their human body in this world, all their behaviors appear to conform to human norms. They are happy at things that make others happy, and they become unhappy at those that make people unhappy. In case of these incarnations, who come with the sole purpose of helping the people to come to God, supernatural things happen at their mere wish. So, God is born as a man in order to redeem embodied beings. And even when he gives up the gross body, his power continues through his devotees. We can see how the divine power of Sri Ramakrishna is working even after his death, bringing hundreds of seekers to himself. When the incarnation comes, he starts a movement. He initiates a kind of revolution. He is giving one more chance to the people to get out of this mess of worldliness. So the Lord himself is born as his devotee. Although he is omnipresent and infinite, he comes to us in a finite form for our own good. He knows ways and means of drawing the people towards the divine. One day, a father went to a garden with his several sons. So as soon as they went to garden, the children set on playing. Some went on plucking flowers. Some went on plucking the green coconuts from the tree. So they were engaged in their own boyish activities. One boy among them went to angle in the tank. He was very eager to catch the fish. So they were all engaged in one way or other. The evening approached. The father called all their sons back. All the children came except one, who was absorbed in catching the fish. The father sent for him again and again, but he would not come. It's all getting dark. Then the father himself went there, broke the fishing rod to pieces and pulled the boy. He took that drastic step. In the same way, God takes drastic steps. He comes to us from time to time. As incarnation he comes. Why he comes? To shatter our playthings and drag us towards him. So Sri Ramakrishna teaches that we should cherish faith in incarnation and love him. We get immense spiritual wealth. We get illumination and we get liberation too. So, Sri Ramakrishna is giving us hope that we should follow the teachings which are simple, which are direct, which are very effective, shining with spiritual power. As I said earlier, the very fact of Supreme God coming in human form shows that He loves the creation. He wants to show to the people what love is really meant. Then the devotees learn to love properly the incarnations. It is easy because they can see them in the front. They are not invisible. What's the meaning of loving the incarnations? It means to follow their teachings in letter and spirit. One day, Sri Ramakrishna was talking to Keshav Chandra Sen. He asked him, "Have you seen a custard apple made of pith?" "Yes, sir," he replied. Then Sri Ramakrishna explained, as such a custard apple remains one of a real custard apple, even so the clay image of Kali remains a devotee of her, the real, blissful, divine Mother. How nicely he is teaching the truths effectively by simple examples. On another occasion, he said to Keshav, "You are the only one who has dropped your tail." Nobody could understand what Sri Ramakrishna meant by that. Sri Ramakrishna himself explained it. The tadpole, that is a frog, so long as it has not dropped its tail, lives only in the water. It cannot move about on dry land. But as soon as it drops its tail, it hops out on the bank. Then it can live both on land and in water. Likewise, as long as a man has not dropped his tail of ignorance, he can live only in the water of the world. But when he drops his tail, that is to say, when he attains the knowledge of God, then he can roam about as a free soul, or live as a householder if he likes. This way, Sri Ramakrishna has said many things, simple and direct. The sublime truths are put in easy language through similes so that we can understand the significance and make our life blessed. So these incarnations always help us. They are always with us. Even though they have left their mortal body, they remain in subtle body to help us in many ways. But we have to exert our determined will. Then only it is possible to get rid of worldliness. Otherwise, it is so difficult. It is so difficult. Not only that, it makes you more and more worldly if you are not struggling to get yourself out of it. The more we are born in this world, the more we become worldly. The more we become worldly, the more we have to suffer. Suffering is because of our own ignorance, our own ajnan. So we ourselves are responsible for whatever things occur to us. By blaming somebody else for our misfortunes will not solve the problem. It will not lead us anywhere. It will make us more miserable. There are people I have seen who criticize the whole world. I would ask them, are you separate from the world? You are also part of the world. Why are you criticizing the world? Criticize yourself. Why do you want the whole world to adjust to you? You adjust to the world. So we should direct our thinking, doing in a proper way. Then only it's possible to turn ourselves to God. In every age, the Supreme Divine takes human form. In spite of God coming frequently, in many ways, still people get lost over the period of time. They lose the track. They take to irreligious ways of life. They just don't care about maintaining purity, practicing religion in the right way. So, lot of trouble people have to undergo. But anyway, Sri Ramakrishna's gospel has given us assuring teachings. Reading through them every day, contemplating on them, practicing them in our life sincerely, we are sure to come near to God. The more we come near God, the more we become peaceful and happy. So Sri Ramakrishna tells, love an incarnation. Develop faith in him. You will achieve everything. Kshudiram Chattopadhyaya, the father of Sri Ramakrishna, a very devoted. He used to worship Raghu Saligram. One day he was returning from a neighboring village. It was very hot in the noon, so he wanted to take some rest under a tree. Then when he was taking rest, he got a dream where he saw God coming and telling him, directing him to the place where the salagram is laying on the earth. It is being guarded by the snake, and he ordered him to take that salagram to the home and do worship. Immediately he woke up. He went to the place a few yards from the tree, and he saw, when he came there, the serpent just left, and he saw the salagram. Immediately he took the salagram to his home and began to worship with great devotion. Even now that salagram is kept in Kamarpukur, the birthplace of Sri Ramakrishna. So he was very much devoted. To him, God was real. It was not imagination. His wife also was very blessed. She also had number of visions of God and goddesses. She was also very devoted. Sri Ramakrishna was born of them. So when Kshudiram was in the temple of Gaya, he got a dream where Sri Ramachandra told him that he would be born as his son. Kshudiram was greatly devoted to Sri Ramachandra. He became nervous a little. He thought, how could he serve the Lord of the universe? He, being a poor man, is it possible to look after him properly? That was his concern. Sri Ramachandra understood him and said to him smilingly, not to worry about it. It will be taken care of. Kshudiram shed tears of joy. So God incarnates to teach the people how to love, how to offer worship to God, how to reach Him. On another occasion, Sri Ramakrishna said, Sri Ramakrishna's sister used to worship Sri Ramakrishna's feet with flowers and sandal paste. Sri Ramakrishna showed his kripa on her. He was impressed by her devotion. One day, he placed his foot on her head and said to her, "You will die in Benares." People used to desire that they should give up their body in Benares so that they can get moksha, liberation. How difficult it is to get liberation. One has to practice severe disciplines for births and births. Yet it may not be possible to get liberation so easily. So, in this particular context, how Sri Ramakrishna released his sister from samsara. He is hinting that she will not be again caught up in the net of worldliness. By Master's grace and love, she got liberation. Because she could worship Sri Ramakrishna's feet with wholeheartedness, with full of devotion and love, it gave its wonderful result. There is a verse in Paduka Sahasram, 1,000 verses on the sandals of Sri Ramchandra, written by Sri Vedanta Deshik. It's a marvelous text. There, the glory of Paduka is described. Yadadharam Vishwam Gatirapicha Yastasya Parama Tamapyeka Dhatse Dishasicha Gatin Tasya Ruchiram. Lord Krishna supports all the worlds. Paduka is support to him. Since the Paduka carries the Lord whole and entire being, when he stands on the Paduka or moves about with the Paduka on his feet. So Paduka is greater than the greatest being. The Lord is the ultimate goal, refuge for all the worlds. His movement is Paduka Dhinam, since his lovely movements are dependent on Paduka. So, that's why we always take Charanamrit, that is the holy water used for worshipping, for washing the lotus feet of God. It has got tremendous spiritual power. It purifies our heart. increases our devotion and faith in God. Spiritual things give good results if we have Shraddha in what we are doing. Next, Sri Ramakrishna said, it is God who, as the Guru, makes one know. Guru's role is very essential, very important. In fact, it is through the grace of Guru one gets realization. Guru Kripa is par excellence. Sri Ramakrishna tells the story of tigress and its cub, which has profound spiritual significance. You know that story. Once a tigress attacked a herd of goats. A hunter saw her from a distance and killed her. It gave birth to a cub as she expired. Then the cub grew in the company of goats. It began to behave like a goat, eating grass, bleating like the goats. Though its form is tiger, it is behaving like a sheep because of the company, association. When attacked by other animals, this sheep tiger also would run away like the goats. One day it so happened, a tiger from the forest came there suddenly, attacked the herd. But it was surprised to see another tiger in the herd behaving like goats. Then this new tiger immediately went and got hold of the sheep tiger and forced it to look at its face in the water. Then the meat was pushed into its mouth. Then the tiger of the forest said, "Look, what a disgrace. You lived with the goats and ate grass like them, so you are behaving like sheep, though your nature is not sheep." Now, this remarkable story has wonderful spiritual meaning. Eating grass is like enjoying lust and gold. To bleat and run away like a goat is to behave like an ordinary man. Going away with the forest tiger is like taking shelter with the Guru, who awakens one's spiritual consciousness and recognizing him alone as one's relative. To see one's face rightly is to know one's real self. It's because of the forest tiger coming to the help of sheep tiger the sheep tiger could change her habits, could realize its true nature. It was also a tiger like the one that came from forest. So here Sri Ramakrishna is telling how Guru plays a very important role in kindling us, in giving awakening to us. Otherwise, we are lost in this world. As long as we hang on to the world and its amusements, we will have to behave like a sheep tiger, weeping, crying, fighting about loss and gain, pain and pleasure, all sorts of things that come in life. Sometimes the Guru, out of his infinite grace, will come by himself and see the miserable condition and kindles an awakening in the people. He makes us aware about the reality. So the incarnations are the Satchidananda Guru in human form. The spiritual teachers, the spiritual masters of the world. The Guru says, why are you suffering like this? Why are you crying? Because you are ignorant of your true nature. You are behaving like a sheep tiger because of your continuous association with the world. You have become worldly, though your nature is not that. It is the nature of the world to keep you always in tension, in worries, anxieties, and so on. You are that infinite power, that supreme being which assumes the three forms of waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper. The waker, the dreamer, and deep sleeper go through various experiences, modifications, and changes. Atman remains changeless, constant, something which never wakes up, which never dreams, which never sleeps. Now reflect more deeply. Suppose you see a tree in your garden. What makes the tree grow? Sprouting of the leaves, blossoming of the flowers, getting fruits finally. It is that infinite unknown power that makes all these things. The same power makes all other trees grow. The same force resides in the animals. It is the very same power which causes the sun to shine earth, and the earth to revolve, rivers to flow, These Panchamahabhutas, they are carrying on their duties on account of the infinite power of God. That infinite power is in you. That mighty force accomplishes millions of deeds in your own body every moment. That infinite power which operates in your personality is the same that operates everywhere. It is homogeneous, infinite, and all-pervading. It's called Atman when it pertains to your individual personality. The same referred to as the total, all-embracing power is called Brahman. In fact, Atman and Brahman are indivisible, like a ray of the sun and sunlight. They are homogeneous and all-pervading, though called differently. So Guru says, you have infinite power within you, yet you seek power in the external world. You have infinite joy within, yet you seek joys of world outside. You have infinite knowledge within, yet you seek knowledge extrovertedly. The kingdom of heaven lies within you, yet you run after all sorts of precious trifles. All these paradoxes exist because of the basic problem of introversion. It is extremely difficult to understand yourself. Ironically, it is simpler to understand another or the world around you. You are able to detect the faults of others easily, but your own faults, several times magnified, are obscure to you. Therefore, you must concentrate all your efforts in analyzing yourself rather than criticizing others. You believe you know yourself, but that is not true. You have to exert yourself a great deal just to know yourself. The moment you find a defect in another, remember to look within yourself. Understand behind every flaw that you recognize in another, you have the same, perhaps far more pronounced in your own personality. So do not consume all your life merely criticizing the flaws and failings of others. Judge not others, cautioned Christ. The energy you waste in judging others is just what you need to make you live up to your own ideals. Observing a small blemish in a person, what a strong tendency people have to overlook all his good qualities. In the present society, what we find, each member concentrates his attention on the faults of another. What defiles a person is not what goes into him, but what comes out of him.